Made possible through support from ARC Thrift Stores, Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, Colorado Developmental Disabilities Council, Developmental Pathways, Peak Parent Center, and the ARC of Aurora. THINK+change Talks. If you're a person with a disability, use your vote. Let them know, hey, we are here, we are thriving, and we want to continue to thrive. The Power of the Disability Vote, a series of different perspectives.
So my name is Seyanna Hitt. I am the Development Director for Colorado Cross Disability Coalition in Denver, Colorado. A little bit of context of what CCDC does. We advocate for the social justice of folks with disabilities living in Colorado. So that looks like specifically working to minimize health disparities and health inequities and what that experience looks like for folks with disabilities. A little bit about myself. I am a woman of color who has multiple hidden and visible disabilities. My visible disability is my hand amputation from utero, and we're just not going to go down my diagnosis list for the hidden disabilities. So one thing actually that I was not aware of before I started working for CCDC is just how impactful the disability vote is. And then as I started to dive into understanding that a little bit more, I also became wildly concerned because I used to do the youth program, and some of these younger folks who are of transitioning age, so 17 until adulthood, and so they're thinking about voting and registering for voting and things like that. And it became really apparent that folks with disabilities, especially children, are kind of discouraged from voting. And there's a lot of myths and a lot of scariness, and there's a lot of things that are not being addressed when it comes to empowering our younger people with disabilities to vote. And so some of the things that I learned, I was just like terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, these kids are not going to vote. So things about like, well, you know, I have an educational plan, so I didn't think that I could vote, or I didn't know that I could get accommodations, so I haven't voted, so people with like visual impairments and things like that didn't know that there were like accommodations so that they could vote. And then just scary, like how many kids do not know how to register to vote and what that looks like. It's like, well, I have to have a driver's license. And I'm like, oh gosh, no. It doesn't have to be scary. It is possible. If you need accommodations, they're available to you. If you have transportation concerns, that's available to you too. If you're having a hard time understanding what the ballot actually is saying, there's ballot guides. I mean, there's even YouTubes of the ballot guides now, so people don't have to read it, So there's ways. You can do it, and you should do it. Like, I don't want to be extra cheesy here, but, it's your civic duty. I think it's really important that the disability vote is there because that voice does matter, right? Like, I started to adopt this motto that I support candidates that also support folks with disabilities, because we can't be invisible. Like, we're here. Like, we are here. And whatever our disability shows up as, we need to make sure that we're in spaces, having conversations, bringing awareness about what disability is, what disability isn't, and what it looks like, and that there's not a one model fits all, right? And then we see that in our politics. So I think it's important to, like, obviously the presidential election matters, and our local government matters too. I think more people with disabilities need to show up in that space because that's a little bit more direct, right? Like your school board. Like, what does that look like? I just learned about HOAs and I just becoming a homeowner, and even there seeing okay, certain things are inaccessible, and I have the power to then vote or show up in these spaces and advocate for these different things to happen, right? And these changes to be there. So I think it's really important for folks with disabilities not only to take up space and to show up in spaces, but then use their vote as power to take back that power. I do see the value and the importance of voting and where that is empowering. And I also kind of see that as a twofold, right? Like, if we're influencing and molding the candidates way before election time, that's where you also hold a lot of power. And especially folks with disability being able to say, hey, where do you stand on accessibility? And then knowing how the candidate shows up, I think will influence your vote, right? It's like they work for you. Like they are supposed to be representative of you. And so if you're a person living with a disability, use your vote. Let them know, like, hey, we are here, we are thriving, and we want to continue to thrive.
To learn more about convenient and contemporary educational products through THINK+change, visit www.thinkchange.training.